What's the best gift you've been given? Well, aside from your mother birthing you into this earth and the gift of life. No, 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 no. Gift, tangible gift that you've been given. What's the best gift you've been given? So I was surprised the other day. I've been an Airbnb host for many, many years, and a guest came to my house and he gifted me a pair of earrings from with a typical stone from a part of the country that he's from. And I thought, and they were beautiful, beautiful earrings. And I thought, what a surprise, what a lovely gesture from literally a complete stranger. So there are people that are very good gift givers, and then there are not so good gift givers. You know, that typical gift that makes you think, "Hmm, do you know me? Have you observed anything about me?" Well, regardless of whether you are a good gift giver or not, or whether or not you're a good gift receiver or not, love has many ways of being expressed, many, many ways of being expressed. And all of the ways it has of being expressed, we need them. So, to understand this concept of love languages, which you more than likely are familiar with, or you might have heard before, it comes from Dr. Gary Chapman, and he created the formula, or he created the framework of the five love languages. So let's walk through them quickly, just to give you an understanding of them. But remember that the objective is for your love tank to be full. Thus, the I like the love language just because it's a really easy tool for you to understand love, for you to understand tangible expressions of love that you can show to others as well as that are shown to you, to keep that plot of land, to keep that pot of that you have together with your partner, that garden, to keep it as full as possible. So the five love languages of Gary Chapman are: first one, physical touch. Easy, no? Physical touch. Words of affirmation. I say something kind to you to affirm you. I'll give you some concrete examples of these later. Quality time. Gifts and acts of service. So physical touch, obviously an embrace, a caress, a hug, a kiss, pat on the back, a holding of the small back, physical touch. Uh, Words of affirmation. Honey, I'm so grateful that you came with me to for my mother's birthday. It made her day, and it's a really wonderful experience to share with you. Or I really love it when you words of affirmation. I'm so grateful that you can be here and do this or that for me. Gifts. Gifts can be something simple as something as simple as a flower that I found on my way home and that made me think of you, or it can be a grand gesture like a new car or a book, a special edition of a book that you've been looking for. Gifts. So we have words of affirmation, physical touch, gifts, quality time. Quality time can take different forms for different people. It's not about quantity, it's the quality of the time. And this can be everything from in the mornings, if we have a ritual of we have 15 minutes of just morning chit chat in which we just talk about what if we had any dreams that were interesting or what kind of day we're going to have. And there are no phones, there's no agenda. Let's just be together. That could be wonderful quality time that a couple might have as a ritual. And lastly, acts of service. Acts of service can be things such as, for example, if I have clothes in the dry cleaner, but I'm really busy with work and you stop by to pick up the dry cleaning for me on your way home, or gestures that are helpful for the other person. We need all of these. We need all of these in more or less degrees depending on what our preferences are. But knowing that your partner has a preferred way to give and receive love will help you to speak the same language. So, for example, if your partner is gifts and your acts of service, you're always getting these gifts, but you're thinking, I actually need helpful stuff done, not random gifts. But they're actually trying to show you how much they love and care for you. And you're thinking, I am not getting what I need. So this allows us to understand where the mix matches and to find a better equilibrium of things and to actually also help us in our communication because we don't have to have conflict necessarily, but this can create conflict, especially when our needs are not being met. So, have you thought about what your first might be, the way that you mostly like to express love to someone, and what your first one would be, and maybe what your second would be? So, think about that. What are your um, primary ways of expressing and giving love? Also, in this, it's important to remember that regardless of what others are giving you or what you'd like to get, we should remember to be gracious. We should be gracious in receiving because someone has taken the effort, someone has thought about us, someone is wanting to do something for us. That is a way that right now it's the way that they understand how to express those sentiments for us. And that is a learning process. It's a learning process to understand, oh, you prefer physical touch and not just any physical touch. You prefer hugs and public acts of affection, public displays of affection. You prefer PDA or you prefer this or that. That's a process for us to learn about the other. Another thing to add, especially about physical touch, especially depending on your culture, most adults in the Western world are lacking physical touch. I would say most adults everywhere, but the global South might be less deficient in physical touch. But in the Western world, the global North, we're definitely all deprived of physical touch. If it's not your primary, if you don't even like it, I would I would challenge you to work on that. See where that trigger comes from of not liking it, and maybe it just wasn't displayed in your home. Maybe you feel uncomfortable because you think everyone's looking at you when you have PDA, when you do PDA. I don't know if you have PDA or you do PDA. I think you do PDA. Well, neither here nor there. The linguist will come later and let me know if it's do or have PDA. Regardless of the fact, we all need it. And it's important to make sure it's part of your love diet with your partner. It helps cement intimacy, helps cement emotions, it helps connect with the body. And you also have to find appropriate moments. It's just true that, for example, if someone is sharing something difficult, to always intervene with physical touch might not be the most appropriate thing. You might want to just let them process through their feelings. And then once they're done processing, then you go in for an embrace, but not to cut off the processing part. And that all sounds like gibberish, but if someone is in a moment of deep catharsis, to intervene directly with a hug or an embrace might it's like digestion. It cuts off the catharsis. When you're doing digestion, physical digestion, and if you drink a cold glass of water, it'll interrupt digestion, at least momentarily. And the same can happen with physical touch. So if someone is having a cathartic conversation or cathartic moment, you just want to let that pass through and then ask for permission to embrace and hug and to soothe them a bit more. But I would challenge those that are a bit more physical touch resistant to touch more, touch more, touch more, especially when we talk about intimacy, which we will talk about intimacy. This is important. The more you touch, generally, you're creating an environment in which intimacy is just more natural. And not necessarily that leads to intercourse. It's just a more natural way to treat the other. And talking about the love languages, some of us might have a tendency, a habit of making worry a form of expressing love. Worry is not a love language. Worry is a bad habit of your thoughts eating away at something without being productive. There's a difference between someone is going to embark on a task or yeah, a task and an adventure or a journey that might have some challenges, and I might be concerned about their well-being. So that's one thing. And another thing is this worry that seems to just go around circles through something without being productive for no good reason. That we think that simply by thinking about something a lot, we're contributing to it. It's like the love drunk teenager, or when we get obsessed with someone. The same thing, we do the same thing when it comes to worry. Thus, it's important to just put worry in its place, give it its proper place in terms of if you're concerned, then if you're actually concerned, you take steps towards that concern. You take out a new insurance policy for the person, or you make sure that they have the best gear for the trip, or that they've looked at all the precautions that they need to take into account, whatever it might be. Or if it's a question of decisions that they're making, that you presented them new decisions or presented them to other people that can give them new insights, whatever it is, but not this cyclical thinking, circular thinking about something without it being productive. That's neither good for you nor actually for the other person, because it inhibits them from fully expressing all the excitement that they might be feeling about the situation. Or it's just a choice that they've decided to make, and we just have to respect that. Love. Love. Defining love. What is love? What do we mean when we talk about love? It's difficult and challenging at times, and there aren't any clear definitions of it. That's true, there aren't. However, we all know when we're in the presence of it. And one thing that I like to leave you with, to challenge yourself and to challenge you in the relationships that you have and the relationships that you want to continue to deepen in, is to practice revolutionary love. Practice revolutionary love. Selfless, unconditional love towards yourself and towards others, in the sense of not to be a martyr, not to, drain your bank account and not be able to pay your rent. Not in that sense, in the sense of giving all you can in a particular moment in time as if life depended on it. And that simple act of love, of just being present, of just listening, of being committed at all costs, to that be the signature that you leave behind. We often don't love ourselves enough, starting from that place, which makes it really difficult for us to love others. So as we think about love languages, as we think about our garden, as we think about these relationships, because we have many, many gardens, we have many plants, joint plants with others, how can we be more revolutionary in our love, more unconditional in our love towards ourselves and towards others? There's a quote by Jose Marti, which is a Cuban philosopher and revolutionary and so forth. He says, you pay love with love. And once you define what love is for you, there are many wonderful definitions out there, but I think it has to be one that works for you, that resonates with you. You know that the only thing that you want in its place is that. Nothing else will do. Remember, Valentina, butterflies or real love. As we cultivate the habits of love, in the same way that we have habits in watering our soil, what habits of love are we cultivating in our relationships? I think the 5 love languages help us to think about ways that we can cultivate those habits in your relationships. I want you to think about I want you to guess what is the predominant love language of a loved one that you have in your life, your partner or another person, and then ask them to verify. See you tomorrow.